Today, our journey begins in London, currently on a stereotypical tourist double-decker red bus, taking a bit of a scenic tour around the city before we head back to Heathrow. We'll be back on another long-haul flight this evening aboard Kenya Airways in their standard economy class. So if you're interested to see what Terminal 4 at London Heathrow is like, hopefully some of the lounges there, as well as the onboard experience with Kenya Airways, sit back, relax, get ready for another flight review. My overnight flight from Atlanta arrived sometime just after dawn, and I had around 10 hours to fill before today's flight. Rather than lounge around at the airport, I decided to take advantage of the time in London. For those US citizens out there, no visa is required and entry was a breeze. Having checked traffic times to get from the airport to downtown, I wasn't looking forward to spending 45 minutes in a car both directions, and luckily, I found a solution at the airport. Once through passport control, there are a number of signs directing you to London Underground where you can catch the Heathrow Express. This train runs every 15 minutes and goes non-stop between Heathrow and Paddington Station. The journey takes just 15 minutes and will set you back £15. I was lucky enough to have a really great day weather-wise in London and enjoyed the scenes from atop the red bus. Back at the airport, check-in was simple and I was quickly waiting in security where I experienced a much more organized and polite international security screening than what you'll find in the States. After making it airside, it was time to explore. If you're interested in what this terminal looks like or a number of other airports from around the world, check out my Rollerboard Diary series. Well, here we are at London Heathrow, Terminal 4, and check this spot out. Yes, you see I'm a little sweaty, but you know what? I think that sacrifices are well worth the benefits to this place, because check out the view. This is quite an incredible viewing spot at London Heathrow in Terminal 4, and I strongly encourage any of you who make your way through this terminal that you definitely check out this spot. Of course, in summer, I'd imagine it's extremely hot in here. Right now, it's, I don't know, about 60 degrees outside, around 18 degrees Celsius, but it's probably close to 80 degrees Fahrenheit inside of this little glass cube. But you know what, I'm gonna set up shop here, try and take a few pictures, catch some arrivals, and then we'll head down to the gate where we will be boarding a Boeing 787 on Kenya Airways. The heat of the viewing platform got the best of me, and I retreated back to the main level where I found a lounge. There is one lounge in Terminal 4 that accepts Priority Pass all day, and that is the Blush Lounge. I honestly wasn't expecting much, something along the lines of the Club ATL, but I was pleasantly surprised. The lounge is on the smaller side, but it is nicely decorated. One thing this lounge lacks is a restroom within the lounge walls, so you'll need to exit the lounge and make a left to access the main terminal bathrooms. There's an acceptable variety of food and, of course, the all-important coffee machine. Ooh, and disc golf. As the boarding time approached, I made my way to the gate. Today's gate is on an extension to Terminal 4, which takes a solid 10 to 15 minutes to walk to. Make sure to make all of your planned snack and entertainment purchases in the main section of Terminal 4 because there is nothing available once you make it over the bridge. As boarding commenced and before joining the organized chaos that boarding today's flight was, let's take a look at tonight's flight. Our aircraft is 5 Yankee Kilo Zulu Alpha, delivered brand new to Kenya Airways in May 2014. Tonight's aircraft name is the Great Rift Valley, which definitely caught my attention. Have you ever heard of Rift Valley fever? It was first reported in the early 1900s in the Rift Valley of Kenya. Rift Valley fever, or RVF, is transmitted by mosquitoes. While most people who become infected experience no symptoms or mild illness, the virus can cause hemorrhagic fever syndrome or meningoencephalitis in less than 2% of cases. The real threat from RVF is to livestock, where the virus can cause much greater havoc. Our 9 hours and 26 minutes flight will cover a distance of 6,800 kilometers or 4,250 miles. Kenya Airways Dreamliners are configured in a two-class layout. After entering through door L2, 2 lavatories in the entrance galley separate 18 lie-flat business class seats in the forward cabin from the remaining 12 business class seats in a smaller cabin just in front of the wing. The rest of the cabin is divided into 2 sections configured in an all-economy class layout with 204 seats. The first 3 rows of the economy class section are designated as extra comfort seats, which provides slightly increased seat pitch compared to standard economy. Set on top of each seat are a standard pillow and blanket. Having reached my seat, one of the first things I noticed was the worn button for the dimmable window. While this technology is unique, generally works as intended, and provides the flight crew with dictator-like authority over whether or not you can see out the window, I tend to prefer the traditional manual window shades that never seems to slide up or down in a smooth manner. Eventually, the safety video was played and we were beginning our pushback, engine startup, and long taxi over to the active. Now that we're airborne and I've had some time to thoroughly investigate the seat, let's take a closer look. Economy class on Kenya Airways Dreamliners is in a standard 333 configuration. The color palette KQ used for the Dreamliner is a mix of earthy tones, perhaps referencing the expansive savanna some of their passengers are expecting to travel to when arriving in Kenya. While the symbol over the dimmable window switch is worn off, there are multiple stickers to look at on the seat back in front of me. Below the no smoking sticker are 2 additional safety related stickers, one indicating I'm sitting on top of a life vest and the other suggesting that a seatbelt can be properly assembled by pushing the smaller metal end towards the larger metal end. For those who find touching the screen challenging, a wide remote is available. A 4th sticker on the right hand side directs passengers to stow handsets during takeoff and landing. Legroom is adequate. I am 6 feet 4 inches or 1.93 meters and survived the southbound journey. Like 99% of tray tables, this one can be released from the seat in front of you by rotating the lever. After gravity pulls the tray downward, it can be used folded in half with a cup holder or entirely unfolded to hold the magazines that were in the seat back pocket. To get acquainted with what's going on in Kenya, you can read the narrative style magazine Fury, or however you pronounce that, or if you have money burning a hole in your wallet, browse the duty-free shopping magazine. All seats feature an IFE, and lucky me, I found another airline with a modern aircraft that is using resistive touchscreens. As you can see, the sensitivity of these screens is dramatically reduced compared to a modern capacitive touchscreen that you're probably carrying around in your pocket. If you wanted to get more information about your seat than what you could gather using your own senses, you can read about where you are sitting for the journey. Sarcasm aside, I have not noticed other airlines include the actual seat model anywhere in their IFE or onboard media. Do you know of an airline that does so? With respect to entertainment, the IFE is okay. It's definitely better than nothing, but it's not going to keep everyone entertained during the flight. The first thing I always check out on a new airline is the flight map, and, well, it was quite disappointing. I'm not sure how many passengers utilize the audio selection, but if you are one who does, don't depend on KQ for a large selection. Same goes for TV shows, where a total of 37 options exist. The movie catalog is more extensive, with just over 100 options to choose from. All in all, I'd do my best to plan on sleeping on a flight with KQ in the future, or bring my own entertainment. Dinner was rolling down the aisle and I was excited to see what kind of dishes Kenya Airways had on order. Okay, it was beef stew or chicken. I heard beef, so I went with beef. Only after receiving it did I realize it was beef stew. But we'll work with it. Bit of a unique presentation compared to some of the other airlines I've received food service on. Everything is served on a tray. That's standard, but I'd say what is unique here is the fact you get this, these are reusable cups, teacup, I guess. Not sure what the green tape means. Maybe it's fresh. No, can't be it, but let me unwrap these. We'll get a drink, and we'll see what the beef stew looks like, and of course, what it tastes like. Maybe I'm just not earth friendly, but really hate these wooden cutlery. Uh-oh, we got some bumps. Regardless, the beef itself doesn't look bad at all. Mashed potatoes, probably canned peas, and of course beef. Let's see what it tastes like. Alright, so 9 times out of 10, I will eat my vegetables first because I'm a good boy. Those ones got away from me, but they will end up getting in my stomach. Anyways, I eat peas on a fairly regular basis. I don't eat canned peas because I don't like the taste. These did not taste like canned peas, but they also didn't really taste like fresh or frozen peas. Maybe it's the fact that we're under cabin pressure with the altitude, but regardless, they did have a bit of a fresh crack to them after chewing on them, so they were fresh. Okay, final summary on the main dish. Potatoes were slightly gritty. They did have a bit of a different texture to them, I guess different to me in my palate, but they tasted pretty well. Beef tasted like any other pulled beef that I've had. And again, I'll remind you, I eat to live, I don't live to eat, so take my food reviews with a grain of salt. So before we get to dessert, I was thinking to myself, I have always preferred to eat my meals with light. I like to be able to see what I'm eating. And it got me wondering, why do so many fancy high-end 4 or 5-star restaurants serve you dinner in a dimly lit environment? Am I the only one who prefers to see what they're eating? Just a thought. Clearly, I forgot to make any post-consumption comments on the dessert. From what I can remember, it was a very light and airy, slightly sweet cake. Good morning. Good day, good night, good evening, whatever time it is. A little bit of sleep on and off, not great. Cabin is relatively warm, and the fact that the Dreamliners, at least Kenya Airways, don't have personal air vents above is a bit restrictive when it comes to cooling yourself down. So the fact that I also refuse to take off my jacket doesn't help, so I'll kind of shoot myself in the foot there. But it's breakfast time. We're just about an hour out of Nairobi, and of course I made a point about eating in dim lighting, and now I'm eating in dim lighting. I guess now I'm trying to be considerate of the passengers around me, but breakfast includes a bagged croissant, a chocolate chip muffin, mango vanilla yogurt, and some strawberry jam. I think it has become quite obvious that the lack of sleep I experienced during this trip had started to disrupt my cognition, so I didn't have much else to report on just before touchdown or after arriving. In fact, I ended up going through security and skipping passport control without picking up my checked bag. I ended up being told by a security guard to simply walk through the mob of people queuing up to remove their shoes and screen their bags, just as I had done, and correctly enter the country. Let's talk about KQ though. Kenya Airways offers a unique blend of affordability and direct service to Kenya, but its in-flight experience falls short of expectations. Despite hoping for a more culturally immersive journey, the flight felt like any other. While KQ has garnered positive reviews from Kenyans, my experience as a first-time customer was mixed. After the flight deck introduced themselves over the PA and the emergency safety video was played, the remainder of the flight felt like most other flights that I've been on. Maybe I had set my expectations too high, but I don't think it's unreasonable to think the country's flag carrier could do a little more to boost the in-flight experience to match the larger-than-life adventures citizens from around the world travel to Kenya to experience. While the airline's international routes are reasonably priced, for example, this particular flight averages between $700 and $1,000 for a one-way ticket, the onboard experience feels generic. As a first-time customer, I boarded the aircraft as a blank slate, but as a SkyTeam member, I expected a certain level of service. KQ's offerings don't quite match those of other alliance partners. Comparing KQ to other SkyTeam partners like Delta, LATAM, or Air France doesn't seem fair, however. But comparatively speaking, the airline doesn't have the resources or reputation of the aforementioned three companies that have been fostered for almost a century. In fact, 1977 marks the first year of KQ service, nearly a half-century after some founding SkyTeam members began flying. Before I would consider KQ as an equal standing member of the SkyTeam Alliance, here are a few of my critiques as the airline currently stands. For starters, we live in a time where most people book flights online. Even though some countries still provide ticketing offices, including Kenya, being able to easily book and manage flights via an online portal is a necessity for an airline looking to compete on a global scale. An intuitive and functional website is the minimum standard, while including applications for mobile phone users would be the next step. KQ has a website and phone applications, but neither functioned as well as other major airlines. Selecting a seat was confusing, and when trying to adjust my booking, both the website and phone app were clunky, slow, and multiple links appeared to be broken. Secondly, how a customer perceives an airline can be greatly influenced by their experience with staff off the aircraft. From check-in agents to gate agents, these interactions should be positive and engaging, especially when things are running smoothly. On a related note, I didn't find the flight crew customer-focused. The tasks that they were required to complete throughout the flight were done, but it was clear that they were working. Finally, I've contacted Kenya Airways on 2 separate emails concerning an item I left on a flight. It has now been more than 3 weeks since sending the last email, and I have not received a response. I accept full responsibility for leaving my toiletry bag on the aircraft, but the airline should monitor a publicly advertised email address and respond to customer inquiries in a timely fashion.
Mabibi na mabwana, karibuni kwenye uwanja wa kimataifa wa Jomo Kenyatta. Kwa usalama wenu tunaomba mkile kwenye viti hadi ndege isimame kabisa, ishara ya mikanda kuzimwa na milango.
Despite these shortcomings, Kenya Airways' future looks promising. With tourism being a major contributor to the country's GDP, KQ is well positioned to benefit from the growing demand for travel to Kenya. Right now, the airline is somewhat restricted on expansion due to limited aircraft. Ironically, the CEO of KQ recently announced plans to increase the airline's fleet over the next 5 years, as well as the number of destinations. Let me know your thoughts on Kenya Airways and whether or not you've flown with them. As always, thanks for watching. See ya!
On behalf of Kenya Airways, SkyTeam partners, Captain Musimba, and Heathrow on board, we sincerely thank you for choosing to fly Kenya Airways, the pride of Africa. Thank you and goodbye. Our guest is on connection. We wish you a good morning.